Oh my God, guys, what a fantastic weekend it was in the Canadian Premier League's history this past weekend, as it was the opening weekend for the CPL season, for the spring season. There's some great matches there, and we're going to touch on that all in this episode. And for those people coming new to this channel, this is my channel, A.F.C. Curtis. I'm Curtis, so welcome. And for those people returning, welcome back. And then this episode is going to be a special, different format type episode where I'm going to be doing this weekly. We'll be doing in the first half of the episode, I'll be doing a review of this past weekend's matches. In the last half of the episode, I'm going to be doing a preview of this coming weekend's matches and match day, the next match day's matches. So, and in between it, at the end of the review part, in the middle of this episode, I will be awarding each and every week my A.F.C. Curtis Gem of the Week for the past match days matches, and the player that I think was a standout player is essentially, it's my player of the week. But I had the A.F.C. Curtis set up, and that's why it's the A.F.C. Curtis Gem of the Week. So let's get started though with the first match on the build here, and that was the inaugural match, York 9 FC going into Hamilton against Forge FC. Man, what a great match that first match was in Hamilton, and it was exciting. I kind of wish that we did have a winner in that first match, but I mean, a 1-1 draw, that's not the worst thing that could have happened. There was at least 2 goals in it, especially a goal right off the bat in like the first 3-4 minutes of that match. The first ever goal scorer, which is Ryan Telfer, if you didn't know. So I mean, that was some great historic moments. Make sure you guys remember that, because in a couple of years when they start rolling out the CPL trivia cards and all that, I'm sure that's going to be one of the first questions in that deck. So I mean, it was a great weekend there, and if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest checking out my vlog episode that I did earlier this week. I just dropped, and it was my entire time at the match on Saturday in Hamilton. So it was a lot of fun, and I hope I captured that well, and I got some great seats and some great stuff there from the Canadian Premier League. So that was super cool. But back to the match here as we roll into it. I think it was a great match. I think Nathan Ingham did really well for York 9 in net. I think he ended up saving, I believe it was like 5 saves or whatever, which is quite a lot. He's seen a lot, especially in that second half. I think the first half though, York 9 definitely played really well, especially defensively. You could tell Forge tried to get in the box, tried to get Welshman active in the box, and they just couldn't do it because guys like Luca Gasparotto was in there just killing it defensively. So I mean, York 9 defensively looked incredible, really the whole match. Their goalkeeping looked great. I think as the match though settled on, you could tell though that Forge, they did own possession of that match too. You could tell though that Forge was trying to get better, and they were getting better really throughout the match. They had a much better second half, which led to a goal, and I think it was the 78th minute there. And then after that, you just felt the momentum swinging into the Forge FC's way. They almost got the win at the end of the day. And I definitely feel like guys like Kyle Becker, though, maybe didn't step up as much as he could have. I don't know if it was nerves or not. And of course, he was in that controversial play where he hit Joe DiChiara there toward the end of the match there. A lot of people thinking it should have been a card. A lot of people saying no, it shouldn't have been. I, for one, at least think he should have got at least a yellow for it. But unfortunately, he didn't receive it. But hopefully, he does clean his act up after that match. I mean, it wasn't his best match. And when you see Kyle Becker at his best, he's true class. And I think he'll show that hopefully in this next matchup coming up this coming weekend. The second match of the weekend of match day 1 ended up being on Sunday, and that was in Pacific FC's home territory there at West Hill Stadium as they hosted the HFX Wanderers in that one. I think that match, definitely looked like it was 100% favored in Pacific FC, only because they came in with some really good form, and and maybe it looked like they didn't really have much rust. To be honest with you, they looked really good in that match. I think it kind of helped them that the Wanderers had some crucial injuries to their lineup. I think Hossein definitely was out in the back four. That he had an impressive training camp, and of course Pereira didn't start at all for them, didn't even dress for them. So I mean, it was a real rough match for the Wanderers to start. I think the favorites were for sure Pacific FC at home. They of course made history, getting the first ever win in Canadian Premier League history, 1-0. I think defender Henrik Starostik there played really well. He was the only goal scorer of the match. He did really well. I think Noah Verhoeven did really well for Pacific FC. Ben Fisk, I think even Marcus Haber looked pretty threatening there quite a few times as on the attack for Pacific FC. So I mean, I was a little shocked that Nakajima Farhan didn't start the match, but he did get some time, I think, toward the end. I think he played maybe 20-25 minutes in this match. But yeah, Pacific FC definitely owned the match until, I would say until, the back half, especially when McNaughton got the cards there and got sent off and then went down to 10 men. The last 15-20 minutes of that match ended actually in Halifax's favor, I think, for the Wanderers. I think they played really well. They had some momentum there. Of course, they did have that earlier goal in the first half. They got disallowed for offside. But I mean, for the Wanderers, they gotta just, they got the first loss of the year, whatever. They got to move on now. Their next match is going to be crucial for them. They're at home on Saturday against Forge FC, a team that's going to be looking to try and get some points there on the road. So I mean, the Wanderers have to learn from this. I mean, it was a tough matchup to begin with, especially with the injuries. They just got to move on and win the final for Pacific FC, which Pacific FC looked pretty deadly. So that brings us now to the next segment, and that is to cap off the review of the weekend with my gem of the week. So my A.F.C. Curtis gem of the week, the inaugural gem of the week. Who do I think was the best player from the inaugural weekend in CPL action? Now, it was tough. There was a lot of good ones. I thought Ben Fisk looked actually really good for Pacific FC. Noah Verhoeven did really well as well for Pacific FC, but it's not going to come from that match. It's going to come from the inaugural match. And I have to say, Nate Ingham, for the goalkeeper for York 9 FC, he did really well, really impressed me. All the big saves. I mean, he kept York 9, especially in the second half of the game, he kept York 9 in that matchup, and I think they owe a lot to him. Somebody's got to buy a mistake there after what he did in that second half on Saturday. I mean, he literally kind of kept that team. I mean, the defense in front of him played really well too, but I mean, at the end of the day, he came up with some really good saves. He had 1 or 2 highlight reel saves, to be honest with you, and he kept that team on an even footing and even level with Forge FC to get the 1-1 draw. So Nathan Ingham is my inaugural A.F.C. Curtis gem of the week. It's time for predictions. Prediction time here at A.F.C. Curtis, and my predictions for this coming match day 2. First of all, I want to say the midweek game is the Valor versus Pacific FC match. I actually did a preview for that one on last week's video, so I won't do a preview for this time. I'll have a link for that down in the description below if you want to check that out. And then now for the other matches for this coming Saturday's matches on May the 4th. The first one there is going to be the Halifax Wanderers hosting Forge FC in that match. So I think it's going to be a crazy matchup. I'm really excited to see how the city of Halifax is. I'm really excited to see how the Wanderers grounds look and feel of the match kind of comes through the screen as I'll be watching on onesoccer.ca. And but it should be a fun match. I think if the Wanderers don't have Hossein, especially if they don't have Pereira, I think they're going to struggle though in this match. I think the home crowd will give them a bit of a boost, but I don't think it'll be enough. I think, to be honest with you, the possession's probably going to be owned in this one. The ball will be owned by Forge FC. And unfortunately, if you're a Wanderers fan, you might want to close your ears for this prediction, because I definitely think that Forge is going to take the momentum they had from the end of the inaugural match last weekend and keep it into this match. They're going to take it with them on the road in their back pocket, then they're going to pull it out, and then they're going to go out there and score some bangers. And I think it will end 2-0 for Forge FC, and the reason why is just because I think they'll own the ball. They're going to have high intensity, high attack, and I think with the injuries, they're going to hugely impact the Wanderers. So 2-0 final for Forge FC in Halifax. Now the next match takes place in Calgary over at Spruce Meadows, and it'll be Cavalry FC taking on York 9. I think this match is going to be an exciting one to watch, because I would like to see finally the Cavs play. I think they had, from what I hear from a lot of people, they had a really good training camp, a really good trip out in the Dominican a couple of weeks ago. So I mean, this is going to be an exciting time to finally get to see the Cavs play and their possibly high offense counter-attack style that Tommy Wilden Jr. might be playing. Plus, they have a guy that I think might very likely be the defender of the year in Mason Trafford. And I think, I'm super excited to see how the Foothills group and core there play in their first ever, competitive Division 1 type matchup. So, I mean, there's so many cool things to see from the Cavs this year. And from this first match, too, we finally get to see them play. But the same side, I think York 9 very reasonably can upset them at home, just because I think York 9 defensively, they looked really strong in that first match, guys. I mean, it was intense how well they were in the back end there. I think Luca Gasparotto did fantastic. I think if Ingham starts again, I think he'll again do really well for them. He's definitely now looking like he could possibly be a dark horse for goalkeeper of the year. I mean, but it is only one match. I don't want to get overhyped on it. I'm going to take a breather on this one. I'm going to think sensibly. I'm going to look at the stats, and I'm going to look at, what I've heard from everybody about, how the camp went and training camp went. It's going to be tough to say, but I think at home, Cavs are looking really offensive and crazy, and I think York 9, their forwards group needs to really, get better. I think that first match, they kind of lacked a bit. I know they just signed a day or two prior to that, Rodrigo Gattas. I hope I pronounced that properly. Probably butchered it, so I apologize for that. Would like to see him get some time in this second match here. I think he'll add a bit of improvement and quality to that forward group, just because I think Rolex and Adigi didn't do a whole lot in that first match. But I think the second match, I hope to see Gattas, I hope that's his name, start in this one to get some time in it in order for York 9. I think if York 9 can finish, they have a chance of winning this, but I don't know, we haven't seen it yet, so I think this one's going to have to go to Cavs, and I think Cavalry ends with a 2-1 win in Spruce Meadows. So their first match and their first win at home. Now the last match of match day 2 is Valor FC at home taking on FC Edmonton. Now this match is going to be super important, so maybe make sure everybody is watching, because it's the start of the qualification for the 2019 CONCACAF League spot there for a Canadian Premier League club, and it's between down the Forge FC, FC Edmonton, and Valor FC. And the team with the best home or win-loss record against the other two clubs will qualify for that final spot in the 2019 CONCACAF League. And I think that's why this match should be super big for them this weekend, because Valor's at home. It's their home opener. They open up more sections from what I hear here in Winnipeg at Investors Group Field, so the crowd's gonna be crazy. Hopefully it's a sellout there to help Valor FC possibly get a win here. But I think FC Edmonton, you got to look out for them, because they're one of my dark horses as a possible team that could make some moves here in the standings and finish atop of the table and win a season, because I think they're really good. I think they have some really good pieces on the team. They have some really good young pieces on that team, especially from their FC Edmonton academy. So definitely watch out for FC Edmonton. I think if they win, it's because their speed game and their counterattacks are going to be absolutely deadly. So I think Valor's got to watch out for that if they think they're going to win this match. And I think on Valor's side, I think if they win the match, it's because of possession and a good defensive play. I think Valor is going to have one of the best defensive units in the league this year, and I think they're going to prove that not only on Wednesday against Pacific FC, but also on Saturday against FC Edmonton here. So I think it's going to be a big matchup. It's a little bit of extra importance, because there is factors that factor into the CONCACAF League and where everyone will play. So I think it's going to be a little extra chippy in this match, and a little, rougher possibly. Don't know if we're going to get any red cards, since if you look at the inaugural weekend, everybody's getting red cards these days, or at least 2 yellows in a match. So I mean, it's going to be an incredible match. I think it's going to be fun to watch. I don't think it's going to be crazy high scoring though, but I do think it's not going to be crazy low scoring. I think if you look at positional battles, Valor's kind of got the edge in goalkeeping and defense. I think midfield kind of tied there, and I think strikers, it's kind of tied there. So it should be a good match. I predict it's going to be a 2-1 win. Drum roll please for Valor FC. I think Valor FC gets the win and kind of starts it off and leads the pack in the CONCACAF League qualification. I think they get the win. They're at home. It's going to be an electric crowd hopefully for them at Valor FC, and I think for Valor FC at Invest Group Field. So I think it's going to be a good match for them. I think a 2-1 win is reasonable, and I think a 2-1 win is what it will be in Winnipeg. So guys, how do you like this video in this format? Let me know down in the comment section below. What did you think about the opening weekend, as well as who are your predictions for this coming match day weekend for match day 2? Do you think Forge FC is going to be able to pull off a win in Wanderers ground? Do you think Valor FC at home will be able to win and start off the CONCACAF League qualification at top of that little table? Let me know down in the comment section below. And guys, I just want you to know I will be doing a mailbag type episode where you guys submit me questions and I'll answer them and produce it all into one episode, which I'll be dropping right here on my channel. So starting right now, when this video drops, you can submit your questions to me. Just DM me on my social media platforms and I'll save them all. I'll look through them and then I'll put together an episode where I answer each and every one of your guys' questions. And thank you guys as well for submitting the questions. So you can DM me those questions over at any of my social media platforms. The handles for my social media platforms are right here this corner, or it should be this corner on my video. So you just, go up there at A.F.C. Curtis is my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So just go there. You can DM me your question, and I'll answer it on my episode. And of course, if you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up, that like button to show me you like this episode. And if you want to see more content just like this about the Canadian Premier League, maybe consider hitting that red subscribe button. And if you hit that bell notification button, you actually get notified each and every week when I drop a brand new episode just like this one. And guys, you can also watch my videos over at northernstarting11.com, and it's a great little website. If you haven't checked it out yet, I'll have a link for that down in the description below. You click it, you're going to want to check it out. There's going to be a bunch of great episodes. My episodes are all up there. There's also a bunch of great podcasts there, like C to C, Valor Peg if you're a big Valor FC fan, and a whole bunch more, Young Gaffers. So check out those podcasts there. Every week there's always new content. There's articles, everything. That's where the home of the Scarf Cup too, if you guys didn't know. So northernstarting11.com. I have a link for that down in the description below. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching.